You know, when we think about the legacy of an ancient empire, we usually picture massive pyramids or crumbling cities. But sometimes, the most powerful thing an empire leaves behind isn't a building, it's an idea. An idea so revolutionary it was literally carved into stone, and it would go on to shape our very concept of justice. So today, let's dig into the Old Babylonian Empire and its most famous and enduring creation.
Okay, so this right here is one of the most iconic artifacts in all of human history, the Stele of Hammurabi. And if you look at the very top, you see King Hammurabi himself. He's standing in front of Shamash, the Babylonian god of the sun, but more importantly, he was the god of justice. Now this image is basically a brilliant piece of ancient propaganda. It's sending a very clear message. The laws carved below aren't just one guy's opinion. They are divinely approved. They come straight from the gods.
And Hammurabi tells us this himself right in the introduction to his Code of Laws. He says his whole goal was to create order, to bring about justice, and get this, to improve the lives of the people. This was a huge deal. It totally redefined what a king's job was supposed to be.
And that's really why we're still talking about this code thousands of years later. It's one of the oldest and most complete written legal texts ever discovered. It's the main reason we remember the Old Babylonian Empire so clearly, and it gives us this incredible window into what their world was actually like.
But to really get a handle on just how amazing Hammurabi's achievement was, we have to rewind the clock a bit. See, before him, Mesopotamia was not some big unified empire. Not at all. It was more like a messy, chaotic patchwork of rival city-states, with big players like Isin and Larsa always fighting for control.
Now, Hammurabi didn't just build this empire from scratch. His ancestors, a line of Amorite kings, did a lot of the heavy lifting. They conquered some key neighbors, they built up the walls of Babylon, and they fought off attackers. So when Hammurabi finally took the throne, he was handed a kingdom that was, small but stable. It was the perfect launchpad for what he was about to do. And you can actually see this fragmented world reflected in their art. Check out these cylinder seals, for instance. On the left, you've got this very local scene, a banquet. On the right, it's this wild, chaotic fight scene with heroes and mythical bullmen. The art is super dynamic and cool, but it's all about local stories and local myths. There's no single big picture story holding it all together. And then Hammurabi shows up. And he wasn't just another king playing the same old game. No, this guy was an empire builder, and he was about to completely redraw the map of the ancient world. And this slide right here just shows you the insane scale of what he accomplished. On the left, that's Babylon when he took over, a pretty respectable local kingdom. But on the right, that's Babylon after his 43-year reign. It's a massive empire that controlled pretty much all of Mesopotamia. The transformation is just staggering. So how did he do it? Well, through a series of incredibly smart military campaigns. He didn't just go out and win a bunch of battles. He was strategic. He picked off his rivals one by one. First, he took down Eshnunna, then the important city of Mari, and finally his biggest rival, Larsa, down in the south. That last one gave him control of the ancient, wealthy Sumerian heartland. Game over. But here's the cool part. It wasn't all just swords and shields. Thanks to these amazing clay tablet archives that were found in the city of Mari, and here's the irony, they were preserved because Hammurabi's army burned the city down, baking the clay tablets solid, we know these kings were master diplomats. They were constantly making alliances, signing treaties, sending letters back and forth. It was a very real world of international politics.
So you have this huge political shift, right? From total chaos to one centralized empire. How does that change how people see their place in the world? Well, believe it or not, the answer is carved in stone again, only this time on these teeny tiny little cylinder seals.
Take a look at this seal from an earlier period. It's just buzzing with energy and action. You've got multiple gods, all doing their own thing. There's the sun god Shamash popping up over the mountains, the water god Ea with water flowing out of his shoulders. It's a complex mythological world with a lot of different power players. Okay, now contrast that with the style that took over once these big empires started forming. The art becomes incredibly standardized. It's almost always this exact same scene, what we call a presentation scene. You have a minor god leading a human worshiper to stand before one single powerful figure sitting on a throne. That's it. So what are we looking at here? We're seeing the art literally copy the politics. It goes from these lively, chaotic scenes with lots of competing gods and heroes to a very rigid, ordered, and hierarchical picture. The whole point of the new art is to show an individual finding their proper place within a larger system of power. The focus isn't on cool myths anymore. It's all about your relationship to the guy in charge.
But that raises a big question, doesn't it?
what happens when the one great ruler who built this whole thing is gone? Can a system built by just one person actually survive without them?
Well, the hard truth is, the empire was incredibly fragile. As soon as Hammurabi was gone, his successors, like his son Samsu-Iluna, faced non-stop problems: rebellions from within, invasions from without. The whole massive territory that Hammurabi had conquered started to crumble, piece by piece.
This slow decline went on for about a century and a half, and then around 1595 BC, the final nail in the coffin. Hittite armies came storming down from the north. They sacked the great city of Babylon, and just like that, the first Babylonian dynasty was over. A new group, the Kassites, would come in and take their place.
And yet, even though the empire itself fell, its legacy was huge. Hammurabi had cemented Babylon as the center of the Mesopotamian world, and it stayed that way for over 1,000 years. But the most important thing that survived wasn't a city. It was that idea, the one embodied in his code. The idea that a truly just society is run not by the whims of a powerful ruler, but by laws that are written down for everyone to see.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Hammurabi's physical empire, it turned to dust, wiped out by invaders. But his idea of a public, written system of justice, that's an idea that has echoed through history and is still with us today. So, what's the true legacy of Babylon? Is it the temporary power of an army or the timeless power of an idea?